At least once every year, there's a movie that comes out of nowhere that captivates us with its riveting story, and it becomes an unexpected hit and also a cult classic. Well, this is not that movie.
I do not know my granddaughter's name.
Oh, we're gonna name her Fern.
Fern? Another plant you got growing in there? No.
Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm here to talk about the new movie The Front Room, starring Brandy as the lead character Belinda and Catherine Hunter as Solange. The movie was written by Sam Eggers and released by A24. And it tells the story of a couple struggling financially, and after the husband's father passed, his stepmother moves in, and after that, all hell's break loose. So the question is this movie any good? That's what we're here to find out. But before we get started, if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like the video. It will help this channel grow. And with that out the way, let's continue on.
And here we go.
So as you can tell from my intro, I really did not like this movie. I really debated if I was even going to do a review on it, but I thought, what the heck. So I'm not going to follow my normal format where I give you the negatives and positives. I'm just going to talk about the movie. Then at the end, I will give you my score. And warning, this review will contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, just stop the video. Don't let me ruin it for you, because I will get into details of a lot of plot points. You have been warned. So kicking things off, my biggest problem with this movie is the consistency of the story. This movie really has a lot of good ideas, but none of them go together. There's a lot of plot points that are brought up, and when it's brought up, they really hit on it for a few seconds and then they just move on to something else. According to this trailer, this movie seemed like the stepmother moves in and she's up to something sinister. But really, Solange is just a religious person, and Brandy's character, who is the lead, because I believe she's in either all the scenes of this movie or at least 99% of the scenes. Everything really revolves around the character of Belinda. So it's Belinda's idea to let the stepmother move in because the couple is struggling financially. The stepmother, Solange, she pays off their home. She gives them a lot of money. She leaves everything that she inherited to the couple. And I keep referring to Belinda's husband character as the husband because he was so insequential to the movie and so out of the movie that I really didn't catch his name. I really don't know anything about him. He was that uninteresting. There's nothing about him that stands out. So I'm just going to say Belinda's husband or Brandy's character husband when referring to him, because he's really not important to the movie. So anyway, the stepmother moves in, and even though it was Brandy's character's idea to let her in, she's the one to start having problems with her. One of my biggest issues, they touched on religion just a little bit. If you watch the trailer, it seems like the stepmother, Solange, is up to something sinister, that maybe she's doing something demonic, but truthfully, she's just a Christian. Brandy's character is not really into Christianity, so it seems like there's a conflict just because of that. There's also this one goofy scene after Brandy has her baby and comes home. She gets upset at Solange, which I can understand. By a newborn, you may not want your kid around a lot of people, but she didn't take issue with her being around a lot of people. She took issue with the fact that they was praying around the child, and they do this weird scene where it looks like they're not really doing a prayer, they're doing some demonic ritual. The eyes rolling in the back of the head, you can see the tongue flickering like a snake. And on top of that, it's that scene where Brandy walked into the room and Solange is holding her baby, and it looks like she transfers into the Mother Mary. But they do that and it goes absolutely nowhere. Come to find out, just something that the character of Belinda saw in her head. and it really leads to nothing. They show that. I thought the movie was about to pick up, that we were about to get into something interesting. They do that one quick scene and boom, it's over. Another thing that was briefly brought up and came out of nowhere, after Belinda had her baby, she had a cesarean. She came home, they showed her scars on her stomach, she was stapled up, had her stitches, and then all of a sudden she wakes up the next morning and it's gone, it's healed. Solange says she healed her wounds by praying for her, and instead of wondering what the heck happened to my body, she jumps up, get mad at her for praying for her, and then it's never brought up again. Any normal person that had a scar like this and then it healed overnight, they would be going to the doctor or at least investigating what happened, because this isn't normal. So it's brought up that one time and quickly never mentioned again. Another thing that's briefly brought up is that the couple had a child that passed. They never explained how the child died, what happened. There's just one line where Brandy's character asks, do you think she could be a good mother? And they never elaborate on it. There's so many things this movie kind of touched on for a brief second that could have made it interesting had they dove into it or stuck to it, but they didn't. There was also the scene after the baby was born. There's this pendant, this cross that the baby cries every time you pull the pendant from her. But when you bring the pendant close to her, the baby's quiet. They show like 2 scenes of that, which was really interesting, really something they could have dabbled in and touched on that would have made the movie interesting to find out why this was happening, because there is some connection with this pendant. But they showed the 2 scenes and then it's never brought up again. Another thing that was brought up, for some reason they wanted to force a race issue in this movie. Brandy's character Belinda quits her job because she feels like she's losing her position due to her race, even though there's nothing in this movie to elaborate that or support that claim. And then she gets mad at Solange, saying she's a racist. And this woman had, up to this point in the movie, has been nothing but generous to this couple. She paid off their home. She gave them a busload full of money, so financially they never have to worry about anything again. Only thing Solange says is she's brutally honest about the cooking and says it's salty. But because Brenda finds this certificate of the Sisterhood of Confederacy, she just automatically calls her a racist, which is quickly explained by Solange that before she found Christ, she didn't have love. But after she found Christ, she found love in her heart, and she's no longer a racist. But Brandy's insist on saying that she is, and at this point is when the character of Solange start antagonizing Brandy's character, which is very justified. If you accuse me of something as serious as being a racist, I might mess with you mentally too. So up to this point, she has been nothing but hospitable, nothing but gracious to the couple. So the character Belinda wants to push this race issue, but other than that one certificate of Sisterhood Confederacy, there's nothing to suggest that this lady is racist, other than her stepson saying that she would not approve of the marriage before they met each other. And she even goes far to tell her to tear it up because it means nothing. But every one of these points they bring up is interrupted because they have to have a poop scene. That's right, people. All the talk about this movie, about how disgusting it is, it evolves around poop. And it's the dumbest thing because this movie spends at least 30 to 40 minutes of its runtime dealing with Solange and her inability to control her poop.
He shit everywhere.
There's shit everywhere! Damn it! There's shit on the windows! Oh my God! My house is full of shit! He shit everywhere! Look what he did! He shit all over the wall!
So instead of going and getting the pins like a normal person would, Brandy character just sit there, argues, complain about it, and they have this montage where she's constantly pooping and shitting all over the place, and sometimes she even vomit a little bit, and that is the only disgusting thing about this movie. And it's really not that disgusting. Anybody that's been a caretaker deal with this type of thing all the time, but they have the common sense to know, go get some of the pins. Could have nipped that right in the bud, but they didn't, because every time this movie took a creative turn, they had to have a poop scene. There's even a scene where Solange is on the ground, Belinda won't pick her up, and when Solange tried to get up, she farted in her face. It's almost like a 12-year-old wrote this script. And to top things off, the character Belinda ends up killing Solange at the end. There's a scene where they indicate that Solange bit the baby arm, which they never showed. They never have any proof. The only thing Brandy's character go by is a tooth is missing, which at this point I don't know if Brandy's character set her up. And they have a scene where Solange is asking, why can't I die, after the couple say they're gonna kick her out. She's screaming that all night. They wake up next morning, they found out she's passed. They have her cremated, and then through a montage, Brandy shows that she's about to destroy all the belongings, but she doesn't. And during a job interview, she's explaining her situation. The person doing the interview asks her, how do you deal with that? And she just sits there smiling. They show a flashback, but she walked into the room and suffocated her, which is elderly abuse. There was no reason for her to do this. It comes out of nowhere, and it really, again, have no point. And my last final problem with this movie, they briefly mentioned that the couple had a child. So now that Brandy's pregnant again, they're having another child. They want to put their new baby's room across the hall from where the old baby's room would have been, which is, by the way, downstairs from where the couple's sleeping at, which totally makes no sense whatsoever.
You are one dumb son of a bitch.
But anyway, after Solange moves in, she wants that room because it's downstairs. She has a hard time getting up the stairs, and I guess that's the front room. There's no significance to that room other than that. Just like everything in this movie, there's no significance to anything they show. And I thought long and hard about this. At first I was going to give this movie a skip it, but after rethinking it, this movie has so many plot holes. There's really no continuity whatsoever. It's almost like a bunch of skits thrown together that has no connections, just a bunch of short stories. I can't believe A24 put this out. Usually their movies, even the bad ones, there's always some point. They always have some clever thing that you really have to look at the movie multiple times, really get your mind going, but not in this case. This movie, either there was a lot of bad editing or just bad writing. So until they come out with another version, maybe they'll say, we have a director's cut, this movie really was cut down, and I'm able to see it, and maybe it has more continuity, the story makes more sense, maybe it's more intense, because this is not a horror movie. There's nothing scary about this movie whatsoever, so don't be fooled by the trailers. This movie really gets the dreadful death curse.
It's got a death curse.
So, what do you guys think? Have you seen The Front Room? Do you think I'm being a little harsh on this movie, or do you agree with me, thinking this is one of the worst movies of the year? Let me know in the comment section down below. Remember, these are just my opinions, so let me know yours and keep your eyes open for my next video.